I'm sure we've all wondered what monsters Capcom has hidden away in their vault. What monsters never came to be are yet to be used. Today I want to talk about a monster that was never used. Let's talk about the unused Panther Dragon. So this is the Panther Dragon. It would be safe to assume that this is one of the earlier monster concepts, due to the fact that this concept doc actually references an earlier weapon design that wasn't used either, known simply as the spear. We can see examples of the spear in early design sketches like these. One of the more interesting spear concepts was this weapon right here. It looks like it was used to rip off or tear off a horn from a monster. It seems to me that it's more of like a tool than a weapon, and maybe that's why it was scrapped. But getting back to the Panther Dragon, the inspirations for this monster are right in the name, a mix between the nimble panther and the mighty dragon. This thing looks fierce. Reading into the Panther Dragon's ecology, even among the nocturnal creatures, the Panther Dragon has the shortest active time frame. It quickly moves from shadow to shadow, and tracking one of these remarkable beasts down in a short time is quite difficult, never mind actually engaging it in battle. The hardened wings on its back act like a natural shield, which lays flat against its torso when running through the densely packed trees of the forest. By reducing wind resistance in this way, it is able to run faster and thus overtake its nimble prey. When running at full speed, it can eventually use the wings to destroy minor obstacles. The hide and scales that can be harvested from this monster are quite popular amongst the monster hunters. Many have attempted to hunt the Panther Dragon, but its cunning and agility proved to be too much of a challenge for the average monster hunter. The wings are particularly valuable to a monster hunter who appreciates its natural durability when used as a shield. Looking further into its design concept, quote, the Panther Dragon's harvesting parts are visibly obvious. It has tufts of smooth fur and is a four-legged carnivore. The Panther Dragon has a cunning and cruel personality and will avoid facing monster hunters one-on-one if possible. What a shame we didn't get to see this monster in action. I can only speculate, seeing as this monster never came to fruition. With that said, I want to point out one of the ideas that this monster, quote, will avoid facing monster hunters one-on-one if possible. Could this have meant that the Panther Dragon would have a smaller monster fighting alongside it? Like say the Great Jaggy or the Great Azuchi? In the book, Monster Hunter Illustrations, one of the sources for my video today, we can see a concept of another panther-like monster, perhaps a smaller form of the panther to fight alongside the Panther Dragon? Who knows, but it sure is fun to speculate. And also, this is just a good opportunity to show off these unused designs. If we look more into the biology of the Panther Dragon, it should give us more insight into this unused monster. By anchoring itself to a tree with its sharp tail, the Panther Dragon is able to pull off acrobatic moves. The tail can be crafted into an axe-like weapon. By cutting its wings off during battle, the Panther Dragon can be made more vulnerable to ranged weapons. The wings can be crafted into a sturdy shield. This horn can be used to craft a weapon. Speaking of the horn, we actually have some concept art of what the armor of the Panther Dragon may have looked like. We can see its beautiful horn being used in design, and it looks like the skull is used for the helmet. I absolutely love the spikes being used around the arms. We can see it's a more nimble armor design, maybe like a callback to the very nimble and acrobatic Panther Dragon. One curious thing is that the coloring is like not the same as the Panther Dragon, but we can see that flagship horn at the top of the helmet. I also want to show off this other armor that looks like it might be related to the Panther Dragon, or maybe related to one of the Panther type monsters we've seen earlier in the video. Looking at the helmet, it's probably not related, but it's pretty cool, so I felt like showing it. And that's what we got when it comes to armor. Now, the Panther Dragon wouldn't be the only time we would see a panther-like monster in the Monster Hunter franchise. Monster Hunter Orage, orage actually being pronounced like this,
un orage,
is a French word that roughly translated means a violent disturbance in the air causing wind, rain, thunder, etc. A rainstorm, a thunderstorm, or a storm at sea. Which, if you know anything about the story of the manga, that makes total sense. The manga itself was written and illustrated by Hiro Mashima, the same writer and illustrator of series like Fairy Tail and Rave Master. He's also known as the writer of the best character of all time, Plu. In the manga, the Neco Aggle is a panther-like monster that only has been seen in its debut manga appearance, and never again. It shares some aspects with the unused Panther Dragon, but is also just another unused panther-like monster. It's actually very similar to the other unseen monster that we talked about earlier in the video. Monster Hunter Orage was one of the first Monster Hunter mangas, or at least the first one I read, and it's still pretty good to this day. If all this talk of panther-like monsters remind you of anything, you're not alone. I can't help but think a lot of these concepts seen in the Panther Dragon eventually came to life in the flagship monster of Freedom Unite, the Nargacuga. It would seem the Panther Dragon lives on in the design of the Nargacuga. It also wouldn't be a stretch to say that the Nargacuga maybe embodies the idea of a panther more so than the Panther Dragon would have, having that dark black coat like a black panther, and also being more feline-like than dragon. With all that said, I still think the Panther Dragon would have been a really cool monster, and something that I would love to see like maybe expounded on later. In practice, I can see the Panther Dragon playing like a Rathalos mixed with a Tobi Kadachi. I don't know, something like that. In general, it's really cool to look back at these unused monsters and get in the minds of the early designers for the Monster Hunter franchise and see how different it is from today. And yeah, that's pretty much the video. If you got this far, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe, do all that. Leave comments. It really helps out with the algorithm and everything. It lets my videos get seen. You know, I'm pretty much just a new YouTuber, new kid on the block, you know, so yeah, all of that helps so much. I've also been streaming twitch.tv/kin7689. We play some Monster Hunter, sometimes we do some shiny hunting, you know, all that jazz. And then consider watching another video up here. Alright, I mean, man, thanks so much for watching the video. Really appreciate it. Watch another video, leave a comment, all that good stuff. I'll catch you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.